he got his feet down here.
Woodson.
So, they would rotate.
To have thrown off the balcony.
Antonio Brown finally admitted the truth about how he destroyed his own career. At 37, Antonio Brown is not living like a legend. He is living in chaos. He is fighting through deep money trouble. He went through a real bankruptcy. He is facing a serious criminal charge that could send him to prison for many years. A man who was once one of the greatest receivers in football history is now fighting just to hold his life together. If you're enjoying this story so far, take a second and give this video some hype. It helps us keep telling true stories like this one, and we really appreciate it. It helps to compare him to another Hall of Fame player. Rod Woodson was also 37 once, also playing for a Raiders team late in his career. But Woodson was a steady veteran leader, respected in the locker room, with a stable life off the field. Antonio Brown, at the very same age, is cut off from football entirely, banned from the league, and watching his finances and his freedom hang in the balance. Same number, 2 completely different lives. So how did someone with this much talent end up here? To understand that, we need to go back. We need to go back before the touchdowns, before the fame, before any of the trouble even started. Antonio Brown did not arrive at Central Michigan University as a star. He arrived as a walk-on. Nobody wanted him. He used to play quarterback in high school, but a coach named Zach Azani saw something else in him and gave him a shot at wide receiver. At first, Brown struggled. College life was hard for him. He had trouble keeping up with school and team rules. Things got so difficult that Coach Azani and his wife took Brown into their own home. They gave him structure. They gave him rules. They gave him a family. Slowly, things started to click. He made his college debut against Kansas, then exploded the very next week against Toledo with 9 catches and 105 yards, plus his first college touchdown. In his first season, Brown shined. He led his conference in catches and yards. He was named the best freshman in his conference. This early chapter tells us something important. Antonio Brown was not just talented, he needed structure to succeed. When someone gave him rules and support, he flourished. The Pittsburgh Steelers picked him in 2010, but it was not an easy path. He sat behind other players for a long time. Brown believed his coaches were holding him back on purpose. It took quarterback Ben Roethlisberger stepping in and pushing for him to finally get a real chance. Roethlisberger reportedly told his coach, "I need AB at the X." That moment changed everything. Once Brown got the chance to play every week, he became one of the best receivers anyone had ever seen. Year after year, for 6 straight seasons, he passed 1,250 yards. He earned 4 trips to the All-Pro team. People started comparing him to Jerry Rice and wondering if he could one day break some of Rice's biggest records. For a few years, it looked like nothing could stop Antonio Brown, but the cracks were already forming. In 2018, Brown was sued after he allegedly threw furniture off his balcony, and it almost hit a small child below. He threatened a reporter. He got caught driving over 100 miles an hour. Inside the locker room, jealousy grew. Brown could not handle a teammate, Juju Smith-Schuster, getting more attention than him. Then everything fell apart at once. In the final week of the season, Brown skipped practice. He missed a mandatory team walkthrough. He still expected to play that Sunday. His coach benched him. Brown walked out of the stadium at halftime. That was the end of his time in Pittsburgh, and it was a problem he created entirely on his own. He forced his way to the Oakland Raiders with a massive new contract, worth nearly $30 million guaranteed dollars. It should have been the deal of his life. Instead, it became a disaster. He got frostbite on his feet after stepping into a cold therapy chamber without the right shoes. He refused to practice unless he could wear an old band helmet. When the team fined him for missing time, Brown argued on the practice field, leaked a private phone call with his coach, and demanded to be released. The Raiders let him go, and he lost almost all of that $30 million. He walked away from a life-changing contract with barely any of the money to show for it. The New England Patriots gave him a quick second chance. In his very first and only game for the team, he caught a touchdown pass from Tom Brady. It looked promising, but within days, serious allegations surfaced. A woman who had trained him back in college accused him of sexual assault in a civil lawsuit. Brown denied the claims. The Patriots released him almost immediately. Another opportunity was gone within a single week. Tom Brady did not give up on him. When Brady moved to Tampa Bay, he pushed the team to sign Brown for one more shot. Brown actually played well at times, even catching a touchdown in the Super Bowl. But the same patterns returned. He was suspended for using a fake vaccine card to skip league health rules. Then, during a game against the Jets, Brown got into a dispute on the sideline about playing time. He refused to go back in. He ripped off his pads and his jersey, threw his gear into the stands, and walked out of the stadium for good. That moment became the symbolic end of his NFL career. Off the field, things were just as bad. Brown earned well over $100 million across his career. By 2024, he had filed for bankruptcy. Court records showed huge unpaid debts, including a judgment of over $1 million from an assault case, plus large unpaid legal bills, marketing fees, credit card debt, and even unpaid child support. The trustee overseeing his case even accused him of hiding assets and failing to explain large sums of money moving in and out of his accounts. A judge later ruled that one of his biggest debts could never be erased, leaving him personally responsible for it for years to come, even with bankruptcy protection. On top of all this, a business he owned, an arena football team, fell apart so badly that the league removed it entirely after Brown failed to pay basic fees and wages. As his football life crumbled, Brown started talking publicly about something he called CTESPN, blending brain injury awareness with his own media brand. He pointed to other players who had passed away with serious brain damage and suggested his own behavior might be connected to hits he took on the field. It is true that this kind of injury can only be confirmed after death, so nobody can say for certain while a person is still alive. Many people close to the situation believe Brown has leaned on this idea to avoid taking responsibility for choices that were entirely his own to make. Even when people tried to help him, Brown often pushed them away. For years, Brady quietly checked in on him, encouraging him to keep going to therapy and to work on his emotional health, not just his physical game. Instead of appreciating the gesture, Brown later shared those private messages publicly just to embarrass him. It showed a pattern of pushing away the very people who were trying to support him the most. Most recently, Brown's situation became even more serious. In 2025, following an altercation outside a celebrity boxing event in Miami, Brown was accused of grabbing a gun and firing it, injuring another man. He fled the country before being arrested months later and brought back to face charges. He has pleaded not guilty to attempted murder, and his case is still working through the courts. Because the charge involves a firearm, the potential prison sentence is even longer than usual, possibly reaching decades behind bars if he is convicted. These remain allegations, not a conviction, and his lawyers argue that he acted in self-defense during a robbery attempt. The outcome remains unknown, and the case is still active. Antonio Brown's story is not really about a lack of talent. He was one of the most gifted receivers the game has ever seen. A coach and his family helped him as a kid. A quarterback fought for him in Pittsburgh. Team after team kept giving him new chances, even after he had used up so many before. Time and time again, it was Brown's own choices that closed the doors he had been given. Talent alone was never going to be enough to protect him from himself. There is still room for Antonio Brown to find peace as a person, even though his football legacy has been deeply damaged by his own decisions. His story is a powerful reminder that real success needs more than skill. It needs discipline, humility, and the willingness to accept help when it is offered, especially when that help comes from the people who care about you the most. Hopefully somewhere ahead, away from courtrooms and cameras, Antonio Brown can finally find that for himself.